Research isn't about spreadsheets and citations. It's about the stories, the setbacks, and the pursuit of truth. I am Andres, and you're listening to the Research Podcast. Today, we're going into the field to explore English public school teachers and uncovering the voices that are shaping the future of second language attrition.
So, okay, let's start from the beginning. I think the way this whole project came together is actually kind of interesting because, well, it didn't start as a research question or problem. It started as something we keep noticing around us. Like, for example, during our practicums, a lot of the English teachers we know, teachers who are really dedicated, who have studied the language for years and years, will say things like, I feel like my English is getting worse, or I get so nervous now when I have to speak in class. And we thought, well, that's kind of strange, and that's something worth looking into.
Exactly. And what we realized is that there's actually a name for that. It's called second language attrition. Basically, it refers to the gradual loss or reduction of a language that a person already learned, and it happens in healthy people, people like us, under normal circumstances. So it's not about illness or forgetting, it's more about what happens when you don't use a language actively enough over time. So the topic itself exists in the literature, but the more we read, the more we saw that most studies focus on learners, on students, not so much on teachers as language users. That was the gap we found.
Yes, Andrew. And actually, what makes this really specific, and I think this is what makes it meaningful for us, is the context. We are talking about public school English teachers in Eastern Antioquia, pretty close to us, right? That's a region in Colombia where English is far from the dominant language. Yes, these teachers go to school every day and they're mostly speaking Spanish or are very basic English at best because that's what the curriculum requires at those levels. Yes, there's very little room to actually use the language at a higher register. So you can imagine, of course, over time, that starts affecting things.
Yes, and well, after all of that, the research question we landed on is how do in-service English teachers in public schools in Eastern Antioquia experience and perceive second language attrition in their professional practice, and how does it affect their teaching and their professional identity? Well, here what I want to highlight is the word experience. Well, because it's already giving us like a hit about it, about the research. Here we are not trying to measure how much English they have lost. Instead, we are trying to understand what it feels like. What does it do the way they see themselves as teachers?
That's right, and that connects directly to why we chose a phenomenological approach. Phenomenology is a type of qualitative research that focuses on lived experience, on what something is like from the inside. So instead of administering a proficiency test, we're going to sit down with teachers and really listen to them. We want to understand the emotional dimension, the professional dimension. Does the attrition make them doubt themselves? Does it change how they plan their lessons? Does it affect their relationship with their students? Those are the kind of questions a number or a score can answer.
Yes, and actually, in terms of participants, we are planning to work with around 5 non-native English teachers from a public school in Marinilla, which is a municipality in Eastern Antioquia. Will be pretty close to us, right? So we need teachers who have at least 3 to 5 years of experience in the public sector. Like yes, because that's enough time for these patterns to emerge. We will be able to observe them. We are going to reach out through personal connections from our teachers practicum. Like we will be there. These actually give us a bit of a head in terms of trust, of course, because, and this is something we already talk about it, and it's that teachers might feel judged, and we don't want that. They might feel that we are judging these experiences, like admitting your English level is declining is something uncomfortable when your identity is built around being an English teacher, right?
Yeah, something difficult to talk about considering that, but well, after all that, we came to the challenges. Well, honestly, one of the biggest one is confidentiality. Well, because we need to create a space where teachers feel safe enough to talk. Uh, because if they think their school or their colleges are going to find out what they said, they will either not participate or they will give us very surface level answers. So, well, we're thinking carefully about how we protect their information and how we frame the interviews.
Additionally, another challenge, and this is more of a conceptual one, is that attrition isn't always easy to separate from other things. Like, is a teacher nervous because they're losing their English, or because they're burned out, or because the school environment is stressful? Those things overlap. So we have to be careful not to oversimplify what we find. That's still something we're working through in terms of our analytical approach.
Yes, Andrew. And actually, I will add that one thing that's still a little unclear for us is exactly how we are going to analyze the data once we have the interviews. Yes, like we know we want to do a thematic analysis, but the specific process from moving from what the teacher says to meaningful patterns, yes, that's where we know we need to keep reading and refining. We are at an early stage, and I think being honest about that, it's part of the process as well. We are not pretending we have everything figured out. No. What we do have is a clear question, a real context, and a real commitment to taking these teachers' experiences seriously. Yes, and we have to keep that in mind. So, now to conclude, I want you guys to know that the pursuit of truth doesn't always end with answers. Sometimes it ends with better questions. My name is Malu, and Andres and Valeria today in our research podcast, we explored the silent struggles of English teachers in Eastern Antioquia. Their stories are the data that numbers can capture. Thank you guys for listening.